Hey there and welcome back. So a few months ago, I did a video sharing how much I've made here on YouTube in the 5 years that I've been creating content. And while I am not shocked that the video did well, I mean, we all want a little peek behind the curtain, right? I was pleasantly surprised by just the overall response that I got. I don't think that I've had a more supportive, kind, and curious comment section on any video that I've done. Some of you shared your stories and frustrations and asked really good questions. And also you encouraged me to continue doing videos like that. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to start sharing my stats with you once a quarter, I think. And then I'll talk about things that I have learned on this crazy journey and just share some of the information that I have found beneficial to my channel. I figure I have been teaching people how to dress in vintage, live a more slow and intentional life, and create beautiful hairstyles. And I think that's what I'm good at. I enjoy helping people, and if I can do that by sharing some of the information that is in this noggin, then I will do that. I'm not gonna lie, I do worry a little bit that going outside of my normal niche might hurt me, but I think if I just do this every few months as, an additional video, it might be okay, but we will find out together. Now, I want to be very clear on this though. I am not a YouTube growth channel. I will remain a vintage fashion, beauty, and lifestyle channel. That is where my heart is. I am also not a YouTube expert, and any and all information that I share with you is strictly from my own experience and research. I absolutely do not have any inside knowledge about how YouTube works. I do have a background in marketing and public relations with a focus on ethical marketing, and I have used that expertise in my businesses over the years. I'm simply sharing my experience and journey and hope that this information can be helpful on your journey. I do want to say that I apologize. I am on the tail end of a cold, so I do sound a little stuffy. I hope that that doesn't deter you too much from watching the video, but I just didn't want to wait too much longer to put this video out, so I apologize for that. In my last video, we ended at the beginning of June. So for this video, I'm going to share my stats for the entire month of June, July, August, and September. But going forward, I think we're just going to do every 3 months. For the month of June, I had 3 full-length videos and 2 shorts. And I made $772.96. My RPM was $10.47, which is really good. I'm happy with that. I don't hardly make anything on shorts, a whopping $1.54. So most of my income does come from my videos. So then I gained about 1,700 subscribers in that month. And we can see here new viewers, casual viewers, regular viewers. This is kind of a new analytic that I've been tracking lately. But let's go ahead and look at my kind of top 10 for that month. So obviously the big draw was the how much I made on YouTube. Then my smart vintage inspired homemaking tips, my neighborhood flea market vlog, 5 mindset shifts for dressing with confidence. I have 2 shorts here, how to wear a neck scarf, an older short. These actually have been popping up and making the rounds again, my lipstick series. And then my wet set series, and then of course my turban tutorial. For the month of July, I had 2 full-length videos, 2 shorts, yes, and then I did a live in July. So I had the live itself and then the replay for that. So I made $789.57. My RPM for that month is $9.02, so a little bit less. I gained 2,400 subscribers in July, and then we can see my top 10 is how much I made on YouTube. Where should we retire in France? That was my France scouting trip. 2 more shorts. 7 days of vintage hairstyles, my live stream replay, my vintage homemaking, again, my lipstick, one of my lipstick series videos, my shorts, my neck scarf, and my vintage turban tutorial. So that is July. For the month of August, I had 2 videos and 1 live. And I made $662.03, and my RPM went down to $6.35 for that month. I gained 1,715 subscribers, and my top content for this month is my vintage apartment tour, my how much I made on YouTube video, my home economics video, and then my my France video. Once again, 2 more shorts, one of which is my lipstick series, my homemaking video, another short, how to wear a neck scarf, and then my vintage life versus US life. If you notice, there's no turban tutorial in here. It's dropped out of the top 10. So that is August. And now September. For the month of September, I had 2 full-length videos and 6 shorts. And I made $420.03. And my RPM is back up a little bit to $9.37. I gained only 868 subscribers in August. And then my top 10 is Finding Joy in Vintage Hobbies, my home economics video, another short, again, my YouTube, how much I made on YouTube. We've got 4 shorts here. And then building my personal curriculum video, and then another lipstick short. So not that many full-length videos in this month, mostly shorts that were trending that month. So a lot of you shared with me that you were just starting a channel or thinking about starting a channel, and I thought it would be a good idea to maybe think back on when I was starting out and talk about some of the things that I learned early on that helped me. I'm a little embarrassed to admit that this lesson took me longer to learn than it should have. When I started, I obviously wanted to know everything there was to know about YouTube. So what do? You get on YouTube and you start watching all the YouTube growth videos. And of course, the more you watch, the more the algorithm feeds them to you. It becomes this never-ending spiral of advice and promises. And they really are compelling. They have great thumbnails and titles like, "But how I got 50,000 subscribers in 30 days," or, "I quit my job thanks to YouTube." And all these tips that just make it feel like, your success is just a few steps away if you do these 5 things. I'd watch those videos And I would go through this whole emotional roller coaster, excitement, envy, anxiety, and then the low dip of depression because my channel wasn't seeing the same results. So one night I was talking to my husband about one of the channels that I subscribed to and I watched regularly, and he said, "Oh, well, that's just a self-licking ice cream cone, babe." So I looked at him like, what are you even talking about? What does that mean? So he explained that a self-licking ice cream cone is something that just exists purely to sustain itself. So these channels only exist to talk about how to grow a YouTube channel by making videos about growing a YouTube channel. They make content about YouTube growth, and they grow because people are desperately searching for advice on how to grow. It's built on the fact that so many people are desperately trying to grow their own channel. So those videos get attention, not necessarily because they're universally helpful, but because they're tapping into that constant anxiety around growth. They're offering hope, basically, but not always practical tools. So comparing a YouTube growth channel success to a vintage lifestyle, or maybe an art channel, or even a travel vlog, or really any other niche is just not helpful. It's just content feeding itself without offering real value. And the truth is, a lot of their income doesn't even come from the YouTube ads or watch time hours. It often comes from selling courses, memberships, or like coaching services, which is a totally valid business model. And YouTube as a marketing tool can be really fantastic, but it's good to be aware of where their perspective is coming from. So if you see a channel that is, for a lack of a better word, boasting about its success, whether that's going viral, getting monetized in a short amount of time or whatever, just take some time to really look at their content. Is their entire platform about YouTube growth? And just use some critical thinking and see if the information that they're providing is actually going to translate into your own niche. Because it's clear that these channels have a hungry built-in audience and probably don't have the same hurdles that we do in niches other than YouTube growth. And I'm not saying don't watch these videos. I still do from time to time. You can glean some useful information from them. I'm just saying be mindful of the context, and what's gonna work for them might not work the same for you, especially if you're creating something that's more personal, creative, or super niche. There are some other creators that I find incredibly helpful. They're not necessarily YouTube growth creators, but one in particular, her name is Katie Steckley. She's one of my favorites. Her content is more broadly just how YouTube and other social media platforms work. She's informed on changes to systems and algorithms, but some of my favorite videos of hers are on more practical things like how to film yourself or how to edit or content workflow and productivity ideas. She does have a business that helps creators with their editing, I think, but she also started out as a van life vlogger. So I don't know, I just kind of feel like she has experience and understanding of what it's like to actually be a content creator. And I've just continually found her content to be useful. My advice is just to watch these YouTube growth creators with a critical eye and, maybe seek out other content creators who offer just more solutions and actions that translate to your own niche. A quick note about stats and strategy, because it is one of those areas that can either help you really grow intentionally or just make you feel completely overwhelmed. I'm not going to tell you to chase the algorithm or obsess over numbers, but I am going to walk you through a few things that I think are really worth paying attention to, especially if you're trying to grow in a sustainable, non-sleazy way. One thing that's helped me stay grounded as a creator is regularly checking in with my own idea of success. Not what YouTube or other creators say matters, but my version of a success. For me, that includes sustainable growth, building a loyal audience, and making enough income to keep creating. So when I look at my analytics, I'm not trying to beat the algorithm. I'm asking, is this working for the kind of channel that I want to have? I started keeping a spreadsheet to track my growth when I started creating. And I'm a bit of a spreadsheet nerd, so I like to have that at a glance, month-to-month view of the stats that are important to me. So once a month, I jot down a few key numbers. Some of the things that I like to track are my total views and watch time hours, my click-through rate, and kind of a new stat is the returning viewers and new viewers and casual viewers, and then of course my estimated revenue. But I don't just collect those numbers. I try to look for meaning in them. You know, what kinds of videos are keeping people around longer? How was my engagement? And am I retaining regular viewers as well as gaining new viewers? I know it feels like everything is just up to the algorithm, like we don't have any control over it. And yeah, sometimes it really does feel random, but you know, the analytics do tell a story if we pay attention to it. And, you know, you can really see when something works. Some of these new tools that they're coming out with too, the recent title and thumbnail A/B testing, you can really see this in action, and it gives you a clear idea of what works best so you can recreate that next time. At the start of each quarter, I like to take a few minutes to set 2 to 3 goals that feel realistic to me, not, you know, get 10,000 new subscribers or go viral, but things that I can actually do, like upload 2 videos per month, improve retention on the first 30 seconds of my videos, try to increase returning viewers by 100, and mention my Patreon and style sessions more consistently, which I need to be better at. For example, if you rewatch the first 30 seconds of your video, you know, ask yourself, would I keep watching this if I didn't know me? And that can help you figure out if you need shorter intros or just stronger openings for better retention. I do try to be more intentional about reminding people that I have a Patreon, especially when there's something relevant in the video that really connects to it. It's not about pitching it every time. It's about making sure that people know what's available if they want more connection with me. Now, I am a natural planner, so using a content calendar is key for me. I personally use Notion as my content calendar, but you could just as easily just use a notebook or a spreadsheet or even your Google Calendar. Now, my content calendar is not only just for my content ideas, but I track my upload dates, any to-do items or B-roll that I need to film. I gather titles and descriptions, everything. I put it all into my Notion. And this year I added content pillars to my calendar. So I added, basically they're categories. So like vintage fashion and styling, lifestyle and vlogs, history and stories, you know, travel and events for some of my flea markets or any travel videos. And it really just helps me to balance different types of video content. So I'm not posting the same style over and over again without realizing it. It also makes planning easier. If I'm feeling stuck, I can just look at the pillars and think, okay, I haven't done a vintage beauty style video in a while, or that last styling video did really well, let me do a variation on that. So it's helped me feel less scattered and much more strategic without being too rigid. So I've gotten into the habit of doing a mini review at the end of each quarter. So not just to look at the numbers, but to really reflect on, my content as a whole. So I ask myself things like, which video brought in the most new subscribers? which ones had really great comments or shares, even if the views were a little bit lower, and which ones just flopped, and why do I think that happened? And I try not to beat myself up over the low performing videos. I just try and objectively look at why. Sometimes the topic was just too niche. Sometimes the timing was off. And honestly, sometimes it was just a thumbnail that didn't land. But every flop has the potential to teach us something that could make the next video better. One of the biggest things that I've had to learn, and I keep relearning, is that growth is pointless if it leads to burnout. Could I get more views and grow faster if I posted once a week or even more? Yeah, maybe, but I've done that before and I know what it costs me. I need my channel to feel sustainable, not like a job that I just can't keep up with. So every now and again, I ask myself, was I consistent in a way that felt manageable? Did I actually enjoy the process? And would I want to do this pace again next quarter? If the answer is no, then I adjust, not just my upload schedule, but sometimes the kinds of videos that I'm making as well. Because if I'm constantly overwhelmed, it's not working, even if the numbers are looking good. I also try to notice what small changes have made a real difference. Not just what looked good on my analytics, but what felt better or got stronger responses from my community. For example, I've seen much better engagement since I started structuring my intros more clearly. People are sticking around longer. I also noticed that the videos where I actually ask questions to my audience tend to get more comments and engagement. Being consistent with promoting my videos through my other social media channels has helped too. It's definitely not a huge spike in views because, outside links tend to get suppressed on other social media channels. But it targets my audience, the ones who actually care about the content and tend to stick around. And sometimes it's just paying attention to the quieter wins. A thoughtful comment, someone joining my Patreon because of a video, or a message saying this was exactly what I needed to hear. That kind of feedback reminds me why I'm doing this. So if you're feeling stuck or unsure how to grow without selling your soul to the algorithm, start with, tracking what matters to you. Set clear, doable goals. Use a content calendar. And just learn from what worked and what didn't. And, take all the growth guru advice with a grain of salt. You're allowed to grow in a way that's thoughtful and sustainable and true to your values. That's what I'm aiming for. And if you're here, I'm guessing that's what you want to. So that's it for this quarter's update. I hope it gave you something useful to think about, especially if you're also creating content in a niche that doesn't fit the usual mold. If you've got questions, want me to cover something specific next time, or just want to share what's working for you, drop a comment. I always read them. And if you're building your channel with intention and maybe a little stubbornness like me, keep going. Slow growth is still growth. Thanks for being here, and I will see you next time.